Welcome to a Healthy Living video blog, episode number 114. This is Ruben.
And that is Aram.
You're watching us at workoutmaster.com. We have a very exciting episode. One of our listeners asked us a few questions. Basically, the questions are pretty simple. They kind of, in a way, contradict each other. Mm-hmm. One is quoted of our teacher C.H.E.K. Another one is quoted another of our teachers, Ray Peat. And we're going to answer them today. So, Nikolai, here you go. Question number 1. Ray Peat recommends eating carrots daily. But I've learned from C.H.E.K. that you should rotate your foods so that you don't create food intolerance, but won't be eating carrots every day create intolerance to carrots. What do you think, Mr. Serrano? Well, Nikolai wants to know what we think. So,
this is what I think, Nikolai. Eating carrots every day, according to Ray Peat, or not eating carrots every day, according to C.H.E.K., which one does it resonate with you better? They both have a process of understanding why they're doing it. When C.H.E.K. tells you not to repeat any food more than a day, it's for the sake of actually maintaining yourself away from repeating foods that might have an allergic or a reaction to the body, period. When Ray Peat is doing is teaching you something else. He wants you to eat carrots at a certain time of day, first of all, and he wants you to do it for a specific purpose that's going to have a change in your physiology. I assume that you know exactly what Ray Peat means, because otherwise the point of comparison does not make any sense for you to understand. If it makes more sense to you what Ray Peat wants you to obtain out of eating carrots at a certain time of the day with a certain type of oil, etc., or because Paul says do not repeat certain foods so you avoid an intolerance or an allergic reaction to them. So according to yourself, what resonates with you, what's more important, if point 1 or point 2, then you have to make that decision.
okay. For me, I think, I'm sure there's something besides carrots that can be used to do exactly the same thing. I'm sure it's not just a carrot. It's not one substance on this planet that's going to help you at the particular time to maintain certain levels. So I would actually ask Ray Peat, what do you think if there's any substitute by carrots? Because truly, if you consistently eat the same food, there's a high chance of creating food intolerance. So what Ray Peat recommends?
I do agree and do not agree with that at the same time, Aaron. And I understand what Paul achieves when he has people not repeating foods. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it, I'm not saying that Paul is right or that Ray Peat is wrong or right for that matter. Mm-hmm. If you go back into time, and we're little Indians, cruising the prairie, looking for buffalo, mm-hmm. and we get buffalo, and mm-hmm. we kill 3, 4, 5 buffaloes or whatever. Mm-hmm. Are we not going to eat buffalo tomorrow because we actually...
Sure, you're going to eat it.
You might eat, buffalo for 3 months straight because that's,
But another thing is, if you live somewhere where there's no carrots, what are you going to do?
Well, that's it. You have to do a little bit better and find out what's right for you. And I understand the angle where you're coming from, so don't think that I'm being ironic or sarcastic, because that's not what I'm aiming at. What I'm telling you is that you have to think a little bit more for yourself. So when you ask me, what do I think? Mm-hmm. What I think is, the question that comes to my head is, what do you think? Because you ultimately have to come to that decision. I understand that you might rely on us, on our years of expertise, or we've been doing this for a little longer than you have, or have more experience, or whatever the case might be. Or maybe none of all. Just because you're a different person, you might think a little bit different. But the point to make is you have to be, you have to ascertain yourself a little bit more on why one may work one way and the other. In the case of the carrots, to be honest with you, if I had to eat carrots 3, 4, 5 days in a row, I might actually get to dislike them. But if I want to eat, 2, 3 carrots, every day or for a couple of days because somebody gave me a 25-pound, pound bag of carrots, I'm gonna eat them. And you know what? I'm okay with that. You're the one who has to be okay with that.
Personally, if you ask me, I like to listen to my body, and more I teach this stuff, and more I understand how important it is. The answer comes always from within. For me, if you ask me personally, just me, and not a recommendation to my clients, I would say I just don't like eating carrots every day. That's just the bottom line. So whenever I want to eat carrot, I eat it. I probably want to have a carrot maybe once every 3 weeks, no more often than that.
What's the second question then?
Second question. Ray Peat says in an certain article about water, when people force themselves to drink a certain amount of water every day, even when they don't feel thirsty, they are activating complex adaptive process unnecessarily. Thirst is the best guide to the amount of fluid needed. Chek and many others health gurus say that you should drink half of your body weight in ounces of water, but what if you don't feel like drinking that much water? What do you think, Ruben?
Then you don't drink it. It's that simple.
Again, I would do it just the way my body tells me. For me, it resonates better to drink water whenever it feels like. Now, I can tell you this much. When I teach clients, not a lot of people can understand what they feel. As a matter of fact, most of the people are so stressed, they don't even know what they feel. I ask them, what do you feel? They say, I feel nothing from eating food. I feel no difference from eating a bowl of pasta and a piece of steak. So guess what I'm going to recommend to those people? Drink half of their body weight in water, because that's just simple for them. So it all depends who you're going to work with and who is your client and what is a specific approach that you want to take.
Right.
Comes from years of expertise and fine-tuning to your body. I would personally drink water when I'm thirsty. That's just the bottom line.
And you can think, Nicola, you're in Denmark. I'm sure that your thirst requirements, they're not the same as, for example, me sitting outside, seeing a few clients in the heat of Miami. It's a very different, weather pattern. And obviously you walk outside and it happens to be pretty damn warm because we're about 25 centigrade today, and you need more water. But there's other days when it's cold, my body doesn't feel thirsty, so I might get by with 3 or 4 glasses, and I'm pretty okay with that actually. I don't feel I'm dehydrated, and I'm pretty sensitive to those changes, because the minute that my water intake is not optimum, or I haven't drank, or I've forgotten, or I get slightly dehydrated because I was working outside, I get a slight headache, and I feel it right away coming, and all I have to do is take a couple glasses of water, and off it goes.
Okay.
So you have to go by feel. I understand that they want to tell people you have to drink this amount of water for many different reasons. 1, because they're chronically dehydrated. 2, because the pathways of detoxification in the body, they're completely blocked, so you have to get house moving quickly. 3, because you want to create a habit in those people, and a habit takes about 21 days of doing something really by the book before actually that habit becomes ingrained. So, there you have it. That's my answer to you.
All right, third question and last question. Ray Peat drinks pasteurized milk when raw milk isn't available. I haven't found a farmer where I can buy raw milk yet. I live in Denmark, but would a thing like pasteurized, homogenized biodynamic milk be a better option than not drinking pasteurized milk at all? What would you recommend supplementing with some calcium tablets to keep my calcium in my bones? What do you think?
Well, the question has different angles. First of all, calcium and milk, they're directly related, but not quite, because you can get plenty of calcium from eating, plenty of vegetables too as well. So calcium, from milk is not necessarily the best source. Neither is the worst. Let's be realistic. When it comes to drinking milk, this is my opinion. If I'm outside in the street and I go inside of any place to get a cup of coffee or whatever, and they don't have raw milk, which I guarantee you they don't, because they don't, will I put the other milk? Yeah, and I'm okay with that. If I'm gonna buy milk for the house and they don't have raw milk, will I buy milk? No, I don't, because I don't consume milk outside of the house. I consume raw milk in the house because I know that I have it all the time. And if I'm outside and they don't have it, and I feel like putting, a little cream on my espresso so it doesn't beat my stomach up too much, then I'll put, the pasteurized, half and half or heavy cream or whatever they have, and that's what I'll have, and I'm okay with that. But I don't consume a lot of dairy. But let me rephrase that. I don't consume a lot of milk, but I do have a lot of cheese. I eat a lot of cheese, and I guarantee you that 99% of the cheese that I eat is all raw.
Okay. For me, there's a vast difference between raw milk and pasteurized milk. I also don't have it usually in my house. I do consume it with my coffee when I'm out. I do not find any value in pasteurized milk, truly.
No.
If you want to get calcium, you can get it from many sources. I would not go for a tablet, first of all.
No.
In order for you to store calcium in your bones, very important to realize that you actually need vitamin D. Vitamin D comes from the sun. So if there's a problem with vitamin D, it doesn't matter what you're going to consume, it's not going to end up in your bones.
Time to start laying naked in the roof of the house to get some sun rays.
Here you go. So that's the answer. I would go for raw milk if I can. I would not go out of my way to buy pasteurized milk. That's about as much as I can say.
agree.
Yeah. the bottom line is, I think those excellent questions. Thank you for answering, because I understand that a lot of times this kind of like could be perceived as a completely different statements coming from different very intelligent people might contradict each other. But for me, it is not contradiction. You got to kind of like look at it with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Find what resonates with you. Make your own decision. Those people make their own decisions. We respect them for what they do. I think they do a whole lot of good for everybody around. Now, are they contradicting each other? I personally don't think so. I think there's a value in both statements.
Absolutely, and one thing in time you realize that it's not that one person is right and the other one's wrong. Is that they have their own system. Is their own system has how they have created a compendium of different studies, different clinical research and field research, and just put it all together. What has worked for them? What has worked for Paul, it might be not what has worked for for Ray Peat, for example, because they're in different end of the spectrum. One is a very lab-oriented person. The other one is more clinical, sitting working with clients on a one-on-one basis and seeing how they do on a day-to-day environment. Then, for example, you might have somebody like Charles Poliquin that has the stuff. I don't even remember what they call it. The program that they have for fellows and stuff like that. They do a lot more with the reference of some lab testing and supplements to support the organs that might be facilitated on having stress and creating certain dysfunction. Then you might have somebody else in the other side of the world that's doing something that I completely ignored, and it might be working. And the interesting thing is that all these programs, they all work. So if they all work, how can they be actually in disagreement with each other? They're just doing different types of things to different type of people, but the important thing is that it's making them better. So I upload Charles Poliquin, what he does with his biomodulation. Biosignature, there you go, thank you, Aram. I think it's great. I know people that have worked with them, and they have gotten great results, so kudos to him. I know that the stuff that Paul Chek is fantastic, because I know that program better than any other one. And also Ray Peat stuff, I hear really, really, really good results, and I'm very interested on it too.
That is excellent opinion. I absolutely agree. Anything else, Ruben?
I think that's it.
Thank you very much for your questions. Send your questions. We will be happy to answer. Remember, your future looks better already. Until the next time, with love.